Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. I am disgusted. However, I'm gonna talk about some discussions and articles on the internet about Hulk Hogan. R.I.P. Hulk Hogan did pass away. It was yesterday. He was 71 years old. I actually thought he was older than that. It was very sudden, and some corners of the internet are delighted that this legend has died, that he's left us. And we've even got CNN writing articles like, wrestling with the dueling legacies of Hulk Hogan. It's like, come on, come on. Hogan was, and I try to explain to my kids, I'm like, Hulk Hogan was a wrestler who transcended the WWF. Even people who didn't know anything about professional wrestling knew who Hulk Hogan was. He was a pop icon. He was I would say one of the biggest pop icons of the 1980s. Again, it didn't matter if you watched wrestling, didn't watch wrestling. If you only knew one professional wrestler, the name of one professional wrestler, it was going to be Hulk Hogan because he was everywhere. It was the only other personality I could probably compare him to is maybe Michael Jackson. I mean, Michael Jackson is in a league, all to himself. But, as far as having this larger-than-life persona that everybody knew, that was, he was on lunchboxes and, action figures. And yeah, there are popular wrestlers today. And, John Cena's in movies and stuff. But, and we could argue, what his legacy actually meant, to the WWF. Now, I'm not as into wrestling as I used to be, but I would say just in terms of general awareness in pop culture, every freaking person in America knows who the hell Hulk Hogan is or was. So it can't be, his importance to pop culture, I don't think can be overstated. The people who are taking delight in his death, though, are mostly salty journalists. They're angry because Hulk Hogan successfully sued Gawker years ago, and that sort of was the first domino that got knocked over, that set the precedent for defamation cases. And he sued Gawker. Gawker basically went out of business, shut down. The rest of those sites got sold to several other garbage sheer media outlets, and they wound up at Geo Media, and then Geo Media dumped a bunch of them as well. But that was the first domino that got knocked over, and they're still angry about it all these years later. And my take on that is, if it wasn't Hogan, it would have been somebody else, because these journos were muckrakers, and they were digging up dirt, and they were trying to get people they didn't like. Now, Hogan was conservative. He did give his life to the Lord toward the end of his life, a couple of years ago, I remember. He did stump for Trump. They don't like that. There was some controversy around some things he said. I don't think I can say the things he said. He was a flawed human being, definitely. But regardless of how you feel about a person, unless it's Adolf Hitler, you shouldn't be taking delight in their death, right? There are people who have passed that I didn't like. I didn't care for them. There are people in my own personal life that I have had issues with that have passed. During the pandemic, there's some people that I really didn't like. I'm not gonna gloat about it. I'm not gonna, it's just, that is like the lowest form of low. I don't know what else to say. It's just it's a very, that's like a low blow. When somebody passes, they leave behind family, they leave behind friends. And like I said, unless it was literally Hitler, I don't think you should be celebrating. I know for a fact when Trump dies, my God, they're going to have parties in the street. You just know they are, right? And it's just like, it's just, this is the world we live in. Like people have lost sight of the fact that these people are human beings. Even if you don't like them, they're still human beings. And they treat people they don't like, that they've never met, like they're subhuman. And just across the board. I mean, look, the right does it too sometimes, right? It's not good. This is why I think in a lot of ways we have such tribalism now, is we don't look at the person. We look at the politics. We look at, maybe things that were said that were blown out of proportion by the media. And then that's how we make a judgment. And then if they've done a couple of bad things in their lives, right? They've done a couple of bad things and they're legitimately bad things. And even if they've apologized for them or made amends for it or whatever, it's still like, yeah, let's have a party when this person dies. I don't think that's good. I think it dehumanizes us. And we've lost the ability to, and maybe it's just we're trying to distance ourselves from it. I've been thinking a lot about things like this lately, and as I get older, and I'm like, are we trying to, when we castigate somebody, are we trying to put ourselves up on a pedestal and be like, you know what, we're better than this person. That makes me feel really good about myself. And I think that's a big part of it. I think people, especially celebrities, because, they're celebrities, right? So everybody knows who they are. Their lives are under a microscope. And, it's very easy to dehumanize celebrities because they don't seem real, right? They're on the TV screen. They're not real people. They're TV people. So I mean, it's just this nonsense. This has to stop. Just in general, like this has to stop. And it's the same with other people that are like constantly bashing on, look, if a politician says something stupid, whatever, call them out on. But like wishing for death on people or delighting when somebody dies, you shouldn't be happy when anybody dies. Again, I'm going to carve out an exception for Adolf Hitler, but like you should be happy when people die. You shouldn't celebrate that. You shouldn't say you want to dance on their graves. There's a literal Gawker journalist who said she wants to dance on his grave. This happened with Stan Lee too. Stan Lee was also a very complicated person, public figure, and people had strong opinions about him. And, some of those opinions were not very good, but like his body wasn't even cold. And we had people out there attacking him and trying to disparage his legacy. And in this case, Hogan had, again, an amazing legacy. He was a flawed human being who left behind an amazing legacy. And regardless, if you can hate what he said, you can hate what he did, you can hate his politics, but you shouldn't be happy that he's dead. You shouldn't be gloating about him being dead. I mean, that's just, it's disgusting. It's subhuman. Let's talk about this. I've already talked about it quite a bit. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. I'm actually pretty angry about this. I'm trying to rein it in, but I'm like this. I've seen this happen so many times. If you want more podcasts, go out to news.clownfishtv.com. So yeah, we've got, CNN talking about, wrestling with his legacy. And yeah, Hogan's not a saint. Terry was a human being. And, what was weird about this is I found out, he was 71. I actually thought he was older. When you're a kid, everybody over 20 looks the same age. But, so like I was big into wrestling. I started getting big into wrestling probably in 84, 85. Most kids from our generation got into wrestling probably in the mid 80s. And at that point, Hogan was in his early 30s. I think he just turned, he was born 53, I think. So he was in his early 30s, and he always looked like he was 50. I think it was the mustache and the fact that he was losing his hair. I think that might have had something to do with it, but just he always gave off like dad energy even at that age. And he just always kind of looked the same until he was doing the NWO thing. But even going back and looking at pictures of him from back then, I'm like, he's in great shape. But I think the mustache, I don't know, but I'm like, he looks like way older than somebody in their early 30s would look now. People in their early 30s now, a lot of them look like they're basically still college age, right? So it's kind of weird. Just maybe it was the juice, and I don't know, but it's just kind of weird to see how differently people age. And you look at back in the 50s and stuff, and you have a guy like you're watching a movie or something, you're like, damn, that guy's way too old to be with that girl. And you find out he's like 32 and you're thinking he's like 62. It's just people. It's smoking and the drinking, and it's a rough life, right? But yeah, let's. So we got a couple. We got the ringers like the mortal Hulk Hogan. So people are like admitting like, look, he was a human being. CNN's mad because of the Gawker lawsuit. So here's where it gets absolutely disgusting. This is I can't pronounce her name. Is it Yvette Dentromo? She is a former Gawker journalist. God, this is disgusting. As a former Gawker writer, yeah, so Hulk Hogan died. As a former Gawker writer, as are all Gawker writers, thanks to Hulk Hogan, I won't be the first or last to say, fuck that guy. Dance on any grave you want to, but this one's mine. What the fuck is wrong with you? She also said, I also took great pleasure reading the obituaries of Henry Kissinger and Rush Limbaugh, and I won't apologize for those either. Y'all, I wrote about health and science at Gawker. I've never been a gossip columnist, but tell yourself whatever you have to because you're mad about a wrestler dying. I'm not mad about a wrestler dying, and I think you can, again, acknowledge that he wasn't a saint, right? But you should be happy. If something happened to you, I'm not going to gloat that something happened to you, Yvette, because it's disgusting. It's disgusting behavior. There are people that, I just absolutely loathe. And I've had this happen in my life. There are people that I loathe that have passed. And I still wish their family condolences. And I wasn't being smarmy about it. Because it's a human thing to do. Right? Somebody died. It's you know what? We can talk about their legacy later. But for God's sake, could you wait until the body is cold? Could you wait until there's been a little bit of time? Because everything's the internet, right? It's all the internet. So nothing is real. The people you're interacting with on social media, they're not real. The people you watch on TV, they're not real. And a lot of people on social media, I'm going to be honest, they're not real. But this person is not real. You don't seem human to me. Because a human being would not be delighting in the death of another human being unless they were absolutely despicable. Just because, he sued us and I lost my job. And I'm going to be honest, he rightfully sued you. And the company lost its job because they didn't do due diligence and it was a mess. And, you can't just go around defaming people like that. But wishing death on him, being happy about it. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't say you're the good guys. See, this is where you lost. This is where you lost me, because for the longest time I considered myself a left winger for the longest time, until about 2016, 2017, when I started to see behavior like this. I'm like, we're not the good guys. Like, you go around telling yourself you're the good guys, you're the moral whatever, but you're bullying people, you're blacklisting people, you're happy people die. I saw the same thing during COVID. Oh, that person didn't wear a mask. I'm glad they're dead. Oh, Meatloaf wouldn't mask up or get a vaccine or whatever. I'm glad he's dead. It's Meatloaf, man. You're never going to be Meatloaf. Why are you glad he's dead? Same thing happens with people on the other side of it. Like, they get, had some side effects from the shot or whatever. I'm not happy they're dead. I'm not happy they're dead at all. It's like, what? I don't understand where did we go? Where did we lose the plot that it's okay to be happy when somebody passes? That again, carve out for Hitler. But like, what I'm saying? Like, this is just, and people are just so like matter of fact about it. Like we've just don't, there's no value to human life. We don't think about people's families. We don't think about, the hole that they might leave, and just basic manners. It's disgusting. Even back in the day, like people would get into duels and they would get into, these decades long feuds, and they would still pay their respects to their enemies in a lot of cases because it was the decent thing to do. We don't even have basic decency. We don't have manners anymore. It's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what makes me sad. These people were the ones that had the megaphone for the longest time on media. So they were able to I hate to use the word indoctrinate, but they were able to desensitize a lot of people. It became normal to cancel people. It became normal to be happy when somebody died. It became normal to wish death for people over fucking cartoon shows. It became normal to be abnormal. And then to say, hey, we're the good guys. No, you're not. You're not the good guy. You're an awful human being. You are. I'm sorry. You are. To go on and on and on about it, like you're an awful human being, Yvette. You really are. You got a lot of people weighing in here. Solely about winning his lawsuit. Yeah, I mean, it's not just salt. It's disgusting subhuman behavior. Like, he won Cope. John Douglas dancing on Gawker's grave never gets old for me. But yeah, there's a difference. Like, I can make fun of the outlet. I can make fun of the journal, whatever. And we've said before, like when an outlet goes out or people lose their jobs or whatever because of dumb company decisions, there's a difference between taking shots at the company for making dumb decisions and literally being happy when somebody dies and bragging about it. And it's not just her. It's not just her. Here we have, this is Blue Sky. Blue Sky is like, it's its most trending term right now is Hulk Hogan, Katie Byler. If you're constantly angry that journalists sit on stories until they can publish them in a book, Hulk Hogan is the reason why. David Bixenspan, was he a Gawker employee? This Fast Company article about the legacy of Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker is well worth a few minutes of your time. Here we have the thing I keep thinking about Hulk Hogan is that he was the last carny. I don't think there can ever be a wrestler that's working 24/7 again. He actually, yeah, we saw him at the Cow Palace in San Francisco back in '90, and they were doing house shows, and he was like everywhere. It was great. He was good though. He was great with the crowd too. Jason Wilson said this is also contributed to the kind of wishy-washy headlines that get people mad on here. A lot of what dissatisfies you as a media consumer comes from the legal caution produced by events like Hulk Hogan putting Gawker out of business. It's Friday, fuck Hulk Hogan. Gawker, again, in my opinion, they pushed it too far and they deserve to go out of business. And it was just the first, and I'm sorry, it was, they pushed it too far. They got sued. It was the first domino that got knocked over. And that's what they're mad about. Now a rapist in 2013 inductee into the World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame as President of the United States, and Hulk Hogan is very much deceased. A fuckology. Fuckology. Oh my God. An anti-eulogy. I gotta look at this shit. I gotta look at an enemy of the free press. All right, what's this shit? Hulk Hogan, Trump idol, and enemy of the free press, dead at 71. This is a guest post by journalist and author Josephine Reisman, whose books include the New York Times bestseller Ringmaster, Vince McMahon and the Unmaking of America, and the Hugo finalist True Believer, The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee. So she's probably the same one that was going after Stan Lee. There were a lot of them that were going after Stan Lee. It's a very small group of journalists that are angry, comic book fans, whatever. People that are like, hey, let's cash in on the celebrity's death, right? The Last Temptation of Beck. Friends, Americans, country people, lend me your ears. I come to boo Hulk Hogan, not cheer him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. Oh my God. When I was writing my biography of Vince McMahon, my spouse often asked me why Vince's biggest superstar was so popular. How could this pot-bellied non-athlete with a handlebar mustache who spouted nonsensical sentences through his coke dealer's life, as though his coke dealer's life depended on it, gain the adoration of the world? I don't know how to account for it. Regardless, he's dead. Hogan appealed to America because so many people could smell the white suit. Oh my God! Hogan appealed to America because so many people could smell the white supremacism wafting off of him, or perhaps they could tell he wanted to return to childhood just as much as they did, or maybe they just really admired his ability to rip open a t-shirt. Indeed, that was the first thing I ever noticed about him. Oh my God. Oh my God. This just goes on and on and on. There's a lawsuit against Gawker filed because he was mad they had posted video clips of him cheating on his wife. Yeah, he was not perfect. He wasn't. Ultimately, the suit was only successful because Peter Thiel, who also had suffered embarrassment from Gawker, decided he could use it as a cudgel. The rich man, who continues to full-throatedly denounce the concept of democracy, had decided to take down Gawker before Hogan's dispute with the site even began. And he was happy to invest $10 million in lawsuits against Gawker, including Hogan's. It killed the site for good. They tried to come back. Yeah, it didn't work. Hundreds of jobs were lost and a precedent had been set. Billionaires and celebrities were capable of annihilating media outlets by weaponizing the legal system. Oh, you must be new, Josephine. A former journalist here. Billionaires own the websites. They own the media. Seriously, who do you think signs your checks? Where do you think the money comes from? I learned at the tender age of, I was like 23 or 24, that my publisher decided what ran and what did not run. He decided what to run. And you know what? He was a multimillionaire. And I was told a few times, no, you can't run that because we have a relationship with that advertiser and it's connected to this story. No, you can't do that. And you know what? His name was on my checks. And you know what? I did what he said because I wanted to keep my job. I mean, you can go out there and blog about whatever the fuck you want to. But at the end of the day, if you're working for a corporate-owned media outlet, you have to answer to the person signing your checks. That's just the way it works. God. So yeah, they're talking about him being a little racist. I don't even know if I can show this. This is the, we have another one here. Willow Schuyler. That sounds familiar. That feels like a journalist. Hulk Hogan had more than enough chances to be a decent human. Instead, he full out decided to make racist comments that ended up having consequences to his career. Him siding with a child rapist shows that he had no decency for human life. So I will not mourn the loss of someone who doesn't deserve it. You don't have to mourn him. Nobody's asking you to mourn him, but I don't think you have to be out there publicly, you know, and again, it's complicated. There's a lot, he did a lot of shit that he shouldn't have done. Right. But you don't have to be out there publicly being like, I'm going to dance on his grave and piss on his tombstone. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously. Yeah. I mean, it just goes on and on. I don't even know if she can, yeah. So he used the N-word. He used the N-word before, and that was a problem. I don't know about all of us, but a sufficient number of Americans, real Americans, living Americans, Americans you know and once trusted, were sufficiently racist to make Hulkster's biggest fan president of the United States twice. So now they're blaming him for Trump. It's all about Trump, isn't it? It's all about Trump. Now the rest of the article is about Trump. Oh, for fuck's sake. All right. Whatever. Yeah, I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting. And it's all journalists. They're angry. And you know what? You can point out his faults. You can point a person's faults out and say, look, I did not agree with him. I thought this was shit. I thought that was shit, whatever. I think you just wait until the body's cold, you know, and don't throw kerosene on the fire when people are grieving. Because what's going to happen is this is going to, if for no other reason, this is going to boomerang back on you. And this is going to cause you problems at a later date because people are going to be like, oh, you're that piece of shit journalist that was happy that Hulk Hogan was dead and wrote a whole piece on how you're glad Hulk Hogan is dead. And guess what? Guess who's not going to get hired at the corporate media outlet? You, because you're going to be like, you couldn't hide your glee when this person who was considered by many to be an American icon, you could not hide your glee. You were giddy that he died. Well, what else are you going to do? And are you going to get us sued? You know, I mean, we're living in a new reality, guys. We are. And you're seeing it with the media right now. And it's not going to stop after Trump leaves office. Everything has changed. You can't just say whatever the fuck you want without doing some, fact checking, without doing, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. Good luck with that. I think a lot of these people are going to die salty in obscurity. These quote unquote journalists, they're never going to work for publications like Gawker again because that money's gone. The new reality is podcasting. The new reality is independent media. And a lot of it was because of your attitude. You're showing exactly why people were happy that Gawker got gone. But there's a huge difference, again, between a corporate entity and a human being. It just, you don't have to like the guy. You can actually hate the guy. But right now is not the time to say anything. Now is not the time to talk smack, in my personal opinion. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.